Hello, and thank you for joining us for tonight's clinical case review using the Metabolic Code Report. We have Jim Laval with us this evening. I am Libby Bricker, your moderator. We will be recording the session to post to the blog. I will have that posted within 24 to 48 hours of tonight's meeting, and without any further delay, I will hand over the presentation to Jim.
Hey everybody, this is a great example of why you need to interview people. This is actually a doc, actually a chiropractic doc that had a really big successful practice. So he's, 76 inches tall, weighs 250. He reports his blood pressure at 128/82, but when I took it at the office, it was 152/104. And then he did admit to that he chronically had high blood pressure. His big reason he came in was for weight loss. He's had some short-term memory loss. His energy's down. He says he gets white coat syndrome, and that's why his blood pressure was up that high. Every time he tried to use a diet, he would feel like he would lose energy, and then he would go and he would snack on something in order to get through his days when he was working on patients. So he'd crave salty foods, overeat before bed at night to try to help him go to sleep because he knew that it would mess with his blood sugar. That's a great way to medicate, right? All he needed to do that on top of that was drink some alcohol. His big thing is that he medicates with food. He is overweight, blood pressure's high, under stress, and let's see what happens when we look at his questionnaire, and then we'll look at his labs. So the questionnaire, if you look, he exercises regularly, so that's a positive, right? Bunch of no's, other than he gets tired after eating a big meal and he's more than 20 pounds overweight. So right away, probably insulin resistant, craves salt and comfort foods late in the afternoon, probably under stress, eating more sweets than he should, getting energy crashes. And then, well, that was it. But those three things alone, you think about it, he doesn't like to complain much. Oh, there he goes. Nope, that was it. So he's not a complainer. But even with what he answered, those three symptoms tell me that he's got some significant issues. Now, I'm just going to tell you real quick. He sent me a picture of his blood pressure readings. He's consistently now 125/75. So, and then I'll tell you what we did to do it, of course. But let's take a look at his report. Let's see what shows up. But this is a perfect example of why questionnaires always aren't accurate, because he doesn't self-report very accurately. He didn't really report his short-term memory. He didn't really report his fatigue, and he used food to medicate. He didn't really report his sleep problem. I needed to dig that stuff out of him. So sometimes you don't get that, you don't get that output that you're looking for. So let's take a look here. Wow, where's he score highest? No surprises. Adrenal, thyroid, pancreas. Number 2, cardiopulmonary. Number 3, liver, lymph, kidney. And number 4, gut, immune, brain. And number 5, test, and progesterone. This is an odd one, right? How many times have you guys seen one rank out like this? Right? Gut, immune, brain's down at number 4. Cardiopulmonary is at 2. That's significant. So let's take a look at his labs. Let's see what it says. And then here we go with his indexes for health. Really, I mean, his overall raw score, is it like 395, was it? Yeah, 395. So he's not in poor health. I mean, This guy actually takes care of himself and does the right thing and eats pretty good food. It's just that the stress is triggering sleep problems and sugar cravings, and he's dysglycemic because of it. So as you look on here, you can see that his glucose balance is really out. He isn't detoxifying well, and he's got a lot of inflammation showing up. So let's find out, what those labs are. If you look here, his pH is acidic. His DHEA pool's trending really low, and his cortisol is actually trending low. So he's been under stress for a while. Had a huge practice in Beverly Hills, real high stress. Moved down to Laguna Beach. Tried to work like, 5 half days or 4 half days a week, basically, like 9 to 2 or 2 to 7, and it's still beating him up. Let's look at his thyroid. His thyroid hormone, I mean, his T3 total isn't all that great, but his free T3 is good, and his free T4 is good, but his totals are kind of on the low end. Maybe we ought to think about maybe trying to build that up over time, but really, when you look at this, not anything really drastic. Now let's look at his blood sugar. Wow, look at his triglycerides. His triglycerides are at 308. Now, obviously, that put a lot of weight on cardiopulmonary, too, even though that's sitting in the pancreas stack. That weighs in the cardiopulmonary neurovascular side as well. So he's got a lot of markers that are off kilter here. His HDLs are just a little low. His glucose is trending high. His hemoglobin A1C it's okay. It's not great, but it's good. His insulin for fasting is high. So, an 8.1, you'd like to see that under 5. So, you see where basically stress and blood sugar have taken their toll, and the fact that he's eating sweets. He even said, if I don't have something starchy, at my practice, if I start to feel my energy go down, I don't feel like I'm giving as good a job doing the body work that I do. And he didn't realize that it was because his body was inefficient in making energy. It was what the problem was. And if you look at gut, his monocytes are up a little bit, but and his eosinophils are up a little bit. So we did put him on a pretty much an elimination diet, and his vitamin D was low. So his vitamin D is trending low. And then let's look at cardiopulmonary. His CO2 is trending high. His systolic is just slightly high. His pulse was good. But what really got him was that triglyceride number. That's what really pushed these values. And then if you look here, his platelets are kind of a little borderline low. And his creatinine's trending up a little, and his GFR is trending down a little. So, he's got a sweet tooth to wow. He's 40 pounds overweight. His kidneys are taking a little punishment. Look there, they're not terrible, but look at his uric acid. So his uric acid's elevated. So in the presence of his GFR going down, his pH being acidic, and his uric acid being elevated, that's presenting a lot of points actually for the detox. That's why detox came in over even above gut immune brain, because this is like an immediate need. And then of course his testosterone is not good, but we got to get him to sleep, right? He's not sleeping, he's under stress, he's insulin resistant. So you may give him something like Uricoma or Restore T, or you might want to choose to wait. It's like kind of one of those things where you could call it either way. Let's see what his questionnaire came up as. Mainly cardiopulmonary, then symptoms of adrenal, thyroid, pancreas, and then really no other symptoms to speak of. So, unless he's complaining of erectile dysfunction and, gee, I'm flat and I'm grumpy and I'm irritable and my mood's not good, I'm probably not thinking I got to do testosterone on him. So he doesn't have a lot of symptoms, but he is not a good answerer, right? He didn't really, kind of come through with all the things that were going on. I mean, he could have detailed his sleep much better than he did. if you look here, the triad 1, adrenal, thyroid, pancreas, look at all the labs that are showing that there's pressure coming from there. The GFR is due to the cortisol. The GFR is due to the insulin. The cortisol is trending low now. The DHEA is trending low. He's on the backside of his high stress response. And by the way, one of the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet. Just really charming. He didn't. They were great. So now let's get past this cortisol. All these summaries, and let's see what the report said. So if you look at triad 1, his cortisol is low, and he's complaining of not having enough energy, and he's not thinking as clearly. He doesn't have any history of infections or anything that he knows of. So he's just his cortisol. He's hypocortisol, and we got to reset his cortisol in the morning, so that and then allow his melatonin to kick in at night. So when you look at this, it's adrenal, some DHEA, something for blood sugar, chromium with the triendohelin, which works on triglycerides. Renipat is for the kidneys, and you could decide what you wanted to do with them. Let me tell you what I did with them. Let me pull out, because he's feeling dramatically better. In fact, I'll even, here, before we get started on that, let me pull his thing and tell you what he sent. Yeah, 126/81 with 67 pulse. That was his blood pressure after 4 weeks. Just said, haven't felt this good in years. So pretty straightforward. So what did we do to correct all of these disturbances? We gave him Glutareg 4. That is basically alpha-lipoic acid and chromium and PQQ. But it's equivalent if you gave chromium and you gave Wellness Essential Pack, really. The next thing we gave him was Restore T. The reason I gave him Restore T wasn't because I thought his testosterone was so horrible, but it has adaptogens in it, and I knew it would work to help out his adrenal axis and kind of modulating his cortisol. Then I gave him Renipat D. And I gave him the Renipat D because his uric acid was out of line, his pH was acidic, and his creatinine was trending. So I did want to protect his kidneys. And then I gave him theanine, which here we're recommending still point. You could do still point or theanine, either one. I just chose theanine on him because I wanted to make sure he could stay focused during his work day, and so that's a little better at that. And then the last thing I gave him was slow wave alpha, basically a sleeping, a melatonin with phenyl GABA, and that's it. That's all I gave him. It characterized these 5 triads perfectly, so I gave him those pieces to the puzzle, and then we changed his diet. And we could have gave him adrenal right off the bat, but he wasn't sleeping. So as soon as I got him sleeping, he reported within a week of feeling dramatically better. So, I chose to not give him adrenal support, even though I could have jacked him up a little bit and got him feeling a little better right away. But the whole purpose of this was I wanted to do something simple. So 5 products. And he's feeling markedly better. He's dropped weight, so it can work. So but what I used was this report as my beachhead. So I want to do something for his adaptogen. Now he already had some vitamin D, so that's why I didn't give him D. Coratrim would be to lower triglycerides along with the the triendahelin, but instead he was already on aged garlic extract. He had just been out of it. So we cut his sugars down. His cravings went away. He started to sleep through the night. We got him on aged garlic. He was he was also already taking magnesium. He was also already taking a fish oil. So those and a vitamin D, if I remember right. So he was kind of taking a baseline of some nutrients, but he just wasn't picking the right ones for him, and he continued to feel bad. So that's really it. So he was already on some of this stuff, and I just kind of filled in the blanks where the areas looked the most broke to me, and as I said, 4 weeks later, it was 12/23 when I saw him. He's already sent me weekly notes of how much better he feels and how his blood pressure's dropped, and he's sleeping through the night, and he's not craving foods, and he has energy to go through his whole day. And I didn't have to give him any adrenal yet. But I brought this guy up because he's this nuanced patient, right? Like, if I'd have gave him Triad 1, all brown, for adrenal cortex, Adricet, DHEA, chromium, and magnesium, and then because he didn't report sleep in the questionnaire, so nothing came up. But if he had reported sleep in the questionnaire and melatonin was there, I would have said yeah. And then the choice becomes, do you give triendahelin, which is a bergamot artichoke combination, or not? I chose to hold on that. And then I chose to use theanine instead of Still Point, which Still Point's just a beautiful Relora plus Avodia combination. And that's it. That's this case. 1 week, started feeling better. 4 weeks out now, almost. He's just telling me how much better he feels, and he's actually starting to fill my office with referrals. It's only been like 3 weeks, so getting 5 referrals from him. It's only been 3 weeks. He's so that's the kind of thing that can happen, and when we kept it simple for him. So that's it. That's our case. 20 minutes, easy.
Thanks, Jim. We'll give just a little bit of time to see if any questions come through. Otherwise, we can wrap up. Hope to see everyone at the Focus on Thyroid webinar this Thursday the 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern with Laura Laval. Just want to remind everyone of that.
Yeah, what was funny about him? He sent me a note and said, I am feeling really good. Thanks so much. I need more of everything. I mean, he is feeling so good. He's ordering his products. He's already kind of burned through 1 set, and he's already on to his second. I don't even need to, wonder if he's going to order. I mean, when you get people feeling good quick by targeting their what triad's out of balance, you really start to see people get responses really quickly. And if you notice, as I said, I only ended up giving 5 things, focusing on Triad 1 and a little bit of supporting Triad 4.
Okay, great case. I don't see questions coming through, so thanks so much, Jim, for being with us and all those that attended tonight.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.